Hello, I'm Rob Pacienza, senior pastor of the Coral Ridge Presbyterian Church in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and I'm joined here today by two of my friends. First, I'd like to welcome my good friend, Miss Diane Bish. She is the host of The Joy of Music. She is the organist emeritus here at Coral Ridge Presbyterian Church, and she's also the chief designer of the great Rafati organ. We're also joined by my good friend, Dr. John Wilson, the director of music here at Coral Ridge and our senior organist. So friends, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you.
Diane, we're here specifically talking about the great Rafati organ that's been in place in the Coral Ridge Sanctuary for almost 50 years. Tell us a little bit about that history. You were incredibly instrumental in that project.
Well, you know, there's a saying on the Coral Ridge Church, excellence in all things and all things to God's glory. So when we were designing this organ, when we were looking for the kind of organ, we knew that it had to have a mission. It had to have the mission of reaching out to the world through music with the gospel of Christ. So it needed to be excellent. It needed to be monumental. It needed to play all kinds of music, from great hymns to the great classics. It needed to lead in worship. And I very much wanted it to be something in sight and sound. So we have the beautiful casework like the European organs. And many people, when they come in the church, they say, "Oh, I want to hear that organ. Oh, I want to come and listen to the music of that organ and that choir." But it has been one of the great organs, and is one of the great organs in the world today, and probably the most seen and heard of all the organs through television.
Because of the joy of music.
Weekly television, and the Coral Ridge live stream in television. Mm-hmm. And so it really has reached out to not only local, but to the world with great music and the gospel and the glory of God.
Yeah, because of the power of television, I've heard some people refer to it as the world's organ, which is pretty amazing.
Really?
Have
wonderful.
millions of people that have been blessed by it. But as I said, it's been nearly 50 years. And John, tell us a little bit about the current state of the Rafati organ.
Well, most organs have a lifespan of about 30 to 50 years before they have to be refurbished. And so we're actually past that point, and it's pretty remarkable that the organ is still working as well as it does at 50. But just like if you have a leak in the roof of your house, you know that if you don't fix that, that leak is just going to get bigger and bigger. Now, we don't have a water leak, we have air leaks. And there's a lot of leather in the organ, and the leather is deteriorating, and it just needs to be replaced. The organ doesn't need to be replaced. The organ is a fabulous instrument. It just needs to be refurbished.
So a few months ago, we launched the Organ Restoration Fund. Tell us a little bit about that project. What's the total scope of the project? How much is it going to cost?
Well, between the pipes and the console, both of which need work, it's going to be approximately $1 million, which is actually reasonable considering everything. The organ itself, to replace it, is probably more like $5 or $6 million. But it's going to take a great deal. It's very labor intensive because there are 7,000 pipes, and there are little leather pouches under each one of those 7,000 pipes that are deteriorating, and we have dead notes all over the organ. And the only way the organ sounds good is because we add stops on top of each other, the pipes on top of each other, to cover up the fact that there are dead notes in between. So
$1 million, but we've already raised how much?
About $500,000.
Okay, so we're about halfway there.
Halfway, yes.
Okay.
But we still have a ways to go.
Diane, I'll give you the final word. Why is this a project that everybody all around the world can get behind and should get behind?
Well, because, you know, the great organs of the world, the historic ones built back in the 1700s, all have had many restorations. They have to, because just like our bodies, they give out and they must be restored. and repaired. And this is one of the great organs of the world. And it has the message of the gospel in it. And this will continue, and we have to continue it, but we must restore it. We must build up the things that have fallen apart and things that are not working quite right, and it happens to every organ. So I just pray that our audience will think about giving to this organ fund, because it's so important. It's such an amazing instrument, and the purpose that it is used for is the greatest eternal purpose in the world. Yeah. So we must continue it, and we must bring it back to its glory.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Diane, thank you for your leadership and for your legacy. John, thank you for continuing the great legacy of great music here at Coral Ridge. There's two ways that you can give in particular. You can go to crpc.org/Rafati to give online, or you can send in a financial gift in the mail to 5555 North Federal Highway, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 33308. But I pray that God would inspire you to give to this project, to give to the ministry of music and the arts here at Coral Ridge, and in particular, restoring the great Rafati organ.